What's good, Shums? Welcome back to another video. We got when you're the best player in the world and no one cares. Seeing the thumbnail of this video, we all know this video is about Luka Doncic. I became a big fan of Luka, especially since he's playing with my favorite player. And the disrespect is at an all-time high right now. Like, I don't like it. So you know I gotta see what jxmyhighroller gotta say. So make sure y'all smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's get it.
What do you call a player who is averaging 34, 9, and 10 a game on 62% true shooting? The face of the NBA? The best basketball player in the world? How about the player who is fourth on the NBA's MVP leaderboard at the moment? 10 years ago, these numbers would have had a player in conversations as the greatest basketball player ever, let alone the MVP for a season. But now this stat line hardly even earns you a shot to become the league's most valuable player. Lately, I've been paying close attention to how the MVP race is playing out this season, and it's going about how you would expect. The season started out with...
and don't get me wrong, bro. All of these players you see right here, Jokic, Embiid, Tatum, Shea, Luka, all of them, and Giannis too. All of them are nice as fuck, having great ass seasons. But Luka is just having a better one, bro. He's having a better one. We got to talk about most valuable player. You take Luka off the Mavs, they're not the same team. Kyrie's still there, but it's not the same team. It's not. Let's keep watching, bro.
Jokic leading the race, coming off a very controversial decision last season. Then Joel Embiid morphed into a basketball god for 2 months and buried all hopes of anyone else winning the award. And then he got hurt, and Jokic jumped back out in front and has held the top spot ever since, with currently SGA in second and Giannis in third. But as I was going over the timeline of the race this season, one thing jumped out at me. Why is Luka Doncic so low? I'm going back and looking at some of his performances and his numbers from this season.
73 is crazy.
Yep, they're still completely unreal. So why is he all the way in fourth place at the moment? Have voters gone on a Luka strike? They all just collectively decided they're not going to vote for him? I don't know, maybe his play style is just too polarizing to reward. His game right now is often compared to prime James Harden, and we all know how that turned out.
It's not the same.
Even Harden and all of his antics still won an MVP award. On the NBA's last weekly recap of the race, it seems they've taken a strong stance on his chances of winning the award up to this point. Sorry, Mavs fans, but the standings matter. We understand he's scored 25 plus points in 9 straight games. But flashy highlights and massive numbers aside, Doncic needs to lift Dallas out of play-in tournament territory to climb near the top of this list.
Okay, let's put all right, bet. What y'all gotta realize, okay. The Dallas Mavericks are the 8th seed right now. They're the 8th seed. Let's check the standings real quick. I got my phone right here. We gonna check. I'm gonna tell y'all the standings. I'm gonna explain this to y'all. This might be a little long video, maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. But let's check these standings real quick. Hold up. All right. Pay attention. The Suns are 42 and 29. The Kings, the 7th seed, are 41 and 29. The Mavericks are also 41 and 29. After that, the Lakers and Warriors, they're not catching up. I ain't gonna lie. But the 8th seeded Mavs are really only like 3 games behind the 5th spot, bro. Literally, I feel like at the end of the season, they could reach the 4th seed if the Mavs win a majority of the remaining games. They could reach the 4th seed, bro. Like they could beat the Clippers. They could fucking overtake the Clippers. You feel me? So it's like, I feel like it shouldn't even matter because the West is so close that one game could make or break anybody's season.
In fact,
you feel me?
I know it's not, because other players have won just as many games as Luka is winning this season with worse numbers.
And Jokic got that shit as a 6 seed too. We're not gonna forget about that shit.
To win the MVP.
Come on,
Luka
bro.
Doncic is being held to a higher standard than anyone else right now. And I think
he getting that Braun treatment. I ain't gonna lie.
Award and how we value players all wrong.
That was only the intro? Holy shit, Jimmy. He
Today's
about to talk
video
his
is
shit.
sponsored by
Okay.
DraftKings.
Yeah.
Rhymers who bet 100 and are DraftKings saleable in your state.
Not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
New 100 only at
I'm sorry. Not gonna happen. What the fuck?
the league in
There we
2018,
go.
he immediately leapfrogged all the assumptions we had about his game and his potential. By his second season, his 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists a game earned him first-team All-NBA and a 4th-place finish in the MVP voting at just 20 years old. By the end of his second
was
season,
20.
the general perception was that this guy was the future of the NBA. An MVP award was inevitable, and it would happen sooner than later. But Luka is now in his 6th season in the league, and despite getting better nearly every single season, his place on the MVP leaderboard has only fallen virtually every season. Voters seeming to become less and less interested in this Luka magic. How did Luka's best case for the most valuable
They just
player
don't watch
in
the games.
NBA come in just his
All the
second
critics be
season
dick riding,
and has
but they don't
only
watch
gone
the games,
downhill
bro.
since?
They just look at the
Are we
numbers
looking
and
at
shit.
the
They don't
MVP
see how
award
Luka actually
all
plays
wrong?
basketball.
Is it even possible
Come
for
on,
someone
bro.
to be the most
The one,
valuable
hold
player
up, my
in
fault, real quick. The one thing you could really say about Luka that's really bad is that he talks to the refs too much. But this year, his defense has been up. If you watch the games, his defense has been way better. Way better. The only thing is that complaining to the ref shit. I don't fuck with it.
in the NBA,
But everything
while
else,
not
what the
elevating
fuck?
their team to a
What can you
title
say?
contender. A question not applying to just Luka, but to any player in general. Where exactly is the balance between individual dominance and team success when evaluating the top talents in the NBA? If the Nuggets ran into some injuries and had a tough stretch of games and somehow fell to the 7th seed, would we be willing to admit that Nikola Jokic is still the best and most valuable player in the league despite the lack of team success? Is it possible to get voter fatigue or even player fatigue before a player has even won anything? Here's a number for you, 41.8. This is the number you get if you combine the average points, rebounds, and assists per game of every MVP winner over the last 30 years. This season, Luka is averaging 53.2 combined points, rebounds, and assists. The highest combined total since Kareem over 50
What
years ago in
the fuck?
1972.
Give
And putting
him that-
numbers
oh,
like this
give him that
usually
MVP.
results in
What
winning
the
games
fuck?
and winning an MVP. Most of the players near the top of this list have earned the award for their efforts. Kareem missed out on the award in 1973, but he already won back-to-back MVPs in the previous 2 seasons. James Harden came in second in 2019, but he already won the award in the previous season as well. Luka, on the other hand, seems to be suffering from a rare case of voter fatigue before winning any
fucking
awards.
blackballism.
Raising the bar to first
He's getting
team
blackballed.
All-NBA in just your sophomore
Just like Kyrie
season
was.
means every
Top
year
75
after
not top
that
75
must
is
be
crazy.
even better.
But that's
if
not
you
about
really want
Kyrie.
to captivate an
Let's
audience.
keep watching.
And Luka has gotten better every single season. So maybe he's just not winning enough games. The unwritten rule about the MVP
Like,
award has
come
always
on,
been
like,
that you
the niggas is not, bro. They are literally 1 game back from the 6th seed, bro. Probably 3 games from the 5th seed, bro. What the fuck?
not only
It's
need to
not
be
that
great,
bad.
but your team needs to be great. But this
Niggas was
isn't always
injured.
the
Are we gonna
case.
forget about
In
that?
fact, recently, it's hardly the case. And voters have not shied away from rewarding exceptional seasons, even if it didn't result in overall team success. In 1987, after just over 2 seasons in the league, Michael Jordan finished second in MVP voting ahead of generational talents and vets of the 80s, despite closing the season with a record below 500 and finishing the season on a stretch of 15 losses in 23 games. He was young, he was unproven, and yet voters were still so enamored by his individual dominance that they just looked past the lack of team success. One argument you can make for this season is the fact that it happened nearly 40 years ago in a league where numbers like this were unheard of. But a similar case of crazy numbers and individual performance outweighing overall team performance just happened again a couple seasons ago. In 2022, Nikola Jokic won the league MVP after finishing the season with just 48 wins and the 6th seed in the West.
What
His
the fuck?
numbers were incredible and his advanced metrics were even better. In fact, he was so good that the lackluster 48-win total was a bit of an afterthought for many voters. The only thing is, this season, the Mavericks are on pace to winning 48 games as well. And as loaded as Jokic's stat line was in that 2022 MVP campaign, Luka's numbers are just about as good this season. So how does one of these seasons earn a player his 2nd consecutive MVP, and the other hardly even earn a player a
Steals.
spot on
Look
the
at the
MVP
steals, too.
leaderboard? But I think the most glaring case of a player winning over voters with a historic individual season was back in 2017, when Russell Westbrook lit the whole league on fire for 81 games and averaged a 30-point triple-double for an entire season. This was just 7 years ago, and it's already easy to forget just how inconceivable this was at the time. There is not
I'm not gonna lie. At the time, that shit was fucking crazy. Like, Westbrook was on a fucking crazy tear. Like, remember that Nuggets game where he hit that game winner to secure that triple-double? That fucking historic triple-double? Like, he made some type of history. I forgot what it was. But that season, he was wildin'. Wait, what year was it? What was that, like 2017? Nigga, I was like 15, bro. That shit is crazy.
Earth, who thought a player could average a triple-double for an entire season. So when Westbrook pulled it off, the MVP award had his name on it, and rightfully so. But the Thunder finished with the 6th seed and just 47 wins. In fact, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard both had strong cases to be the most valuable player in the league that season. So again, what has changed between then and now? How did we go from being so captivated with a stat line like this to just casually brushing aside a similar season in just 7 years? But Westbrook's triple-double season in 2017 didn't just shatter our ideas of what were possible from an individual player. His season completely altered the way MVP voting works altogether. Up until Westbrook's 2017 season, the MVP award was virtually the best player on the best team award. If your team wasn't the 1st seed or on occasion the 2nd seed going into the playoffs, your chances of winning the award were almost non-existent. From 1988 to 2016, 23 of 29 regular season MVPs went to players who led their team to the best record in their conference. 5 of the 29 MVPs went to players who earned the 2nd seed, and only 1 went to a player who didn't lead their team to a top 2 seed. But with Westbrook's MVP in 2017, voters of the award, and fans in general, almost recalibrated the way they approached the discussion of who the most valuable player in the league can be and what is required of them. Because 4 of the last 7 MVPs finished the season with the 3rd seed or lower. This season, Jokic is favored to win the award, and the Nuggets are on pace to finishing the season with the 3rd seed as well. Something that only occurred once in 37 seasons and required the best player of all time to put up the best individual season of his career is about to happen for the 5th time in just 8 years. It's almost as if overnight we all realize that winning the most games is not the end-all be-all to what makes a player the most valuable. 10 years ago, an NBA fan posted this on Reddit, and reading it is almost like jumping into a time machine and traveling into the past. He goes on to list the last 30 MVP winners and the seed they earned going into the playoffs, recognizing the correlation between winning the most games and winning the MVP. And he posted this with a note at the end that tells you everything you need to know about how the award worked just 10 years ago. I put this on here so people hopefully stop making unlikely MVP predictions. No, Anthony Davis is not going to lead the Pelicans to the 5th seed and win MVP. And the comments on this thread are just as insightful as the post itself. So is it really an MVP award? In theory, yes, but maybe it's more of a best player on the best team.
Yeah, like if it's gonna be like that, you might as well turn the MVP award into a fucking team award, bro. The MVP award is an individual award for one player. It doesn't, bro. I don't give a fuck about, bro. If the nigga was in like the 10th spot, like 10th seed, 11th seed, like bottom, cool. But like being in the play-in, bro, especially when you're not separated by that many games from the other teams or the other seeds, that shit should not fucking matter. Am I bugging? Maybe it's just me, bro. Maybe that's my opinion. I don't know.
Overwhelming majority of the time, because this is a superstar league, and superstars get top seeds. And this fan is right, or at least he was 10 years ago. So why did we make exceptions for other players and continue to do so, but we hold Luka to such a strict standard? If the Mavs went on a nice stretch of wins to close out the season and finished with, let's say, 53 wins instead of 48, finished with the 4th seed instead of the 6th, would that really help Luka's case?
That should. It should. It's fucking. If that shit happens, like I said before, if that happens in some universe, the Mavs make it all the way to the 4th spot, and Luka doesn't get that MVP, You might as well boycott the fucking
Close
league,
out the
bro. I ain't
season,
gonna lie.
Kyrie
Boycott
could
the
go on a
fucking league.
tear. The team could get into a rhythm and earn a higher seed, and Luka could be playing at the same level he did all season. But since they're winning more games, none of which had anything to do with Luka playing better, he would miraculously have a better case for the MVP. I know this is how it works. This is the nature of this award. But it's still a bit odd that there is so much weight put into some factors when considering who the most valuable player in the league is. And the season Luka is having in particular is shining a massive light on this irrational way of going about this. Is Jason Tatum more valuable than Luka this season? You could make the argument.
Fuck
I'm sure
no.
There's a lot of people who would, including the NBA's MVP leaderboard. And yet,
look at the difference in the like. What the fuck? Like this shit is not even close, my nigga. Man, you take Tatum off that Celtics team, they're still gonna be like probably the first seed, maybe the second seed, bro. They probably gonna be behind the Bucks or some shit. But you take Luka off of Dallas, it's fucking deed. Bro, the Celtics have too much firepower, bro. Luka only got Kyrie for real. At the end of the day, so it's like
more
that
valuable
shit
this season, according to virtually
come on, it's not
every
even close.
Single metric other than win totals.
No shade to Tatum. I
Jason
fuck with Tatum sometimes.
has missed 5 games this season, and in those games, the Celtics have outscored their opponents by 77 points.
Thank you, Jimmy.
This season, Luka has missed 8 games.
Talk to him, Jimmy.
And in those games, the Mavericks have been outscored by 47 points. When
Talk to
Jason
him, Jimmy.
Tatum isn't on the court, the Celtics are plus 10.1 points per 100 possessions this season. When Luka isn't on the court, the Mavericks are minus 2.8 points per 100 possessions this season. When Tatum isn't on the court, the Celtics are still really good. When Luka isn't on the court, the Mavericks are terrible.
So why the fuck was there
as the driving
why was
factor
Tatum
for the
above
MVP
Luka in the
race
MVP
neglects
standings?
how teams even got those wins and how much the best player on that team is
What the fuck?
contributing to those wins. Now, this season might actually be a case of the league getting a whole lot better, or maybe just the stats getting better, rather than voters and fans appreciating different aspects of the game and its players than they did in the past. The threshold for what it takes to make, let's say, an all-NBA team, earn the label of superstar, and win the league's MVP has been raised so high that a player could have a one-of-one, unprecedented season and not even get a mention as one of the league's best players.
Nigga had 73 in a game, bro.
Domantas Sabonis, who is averaging 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists a game right now. And he wasn't even selected as an all-star this
That
season.
is bullshit too.
These are not
That
empty
is some
stats.
bullshit.
He's not a product
That
of
was
the
crazy.
system he plays in. He is a certified star. But since there's a guy in the league who can do all of this and more, he ends up being unjustly labeled as the watered-down version of Nikola Jokic. It feels a bit surreal that we live in a time where a player like Luka Doncic exists with numbers like these, and the MVP
Sabonis is
award
very
isn't
tough, though.
already boxed
Shout out
up
to
and
Sabonis,
on the
man.
way to his house as we speak.
Sabonis.
And this realization is less about Luka and more about the big picture of the league right now. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around how much things have changed, and even harder to grasp how quickly they have changed. How can he be this good and still be trailing behind multiple other players? If it wasn't for Embiid getting hurt, Luka could very well not even be within the top 5 on the MVP leaderboard, while averaging nearly a 34-point triple-double and being on pace for 48 wins. Which begs the question, what would a player in Luka's position need to do to win the MVP? With the 6th seed, an underwhelming supporting cast, and a handful of generational superstars to contend with, what would be the equivalent to the 2017 Westbrook triple-double season?
Luka really tough. Like, what the fuck?
The numbers are just too absurd.
Every game he has a different highlight, bro. Like
10 and 10, maybe 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists a night on league high efficiency. It sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. How good do you
That's
have
what
to
you
be
have to do?
win the MVP in today's NBA? When you put the bar as high as Luka did at such a young age, how much higher would you need to go for it to be impossible for fans and voters to ignore your efforts? Or is the MVP award still just the best player on the best team award?
shout out to jxmyhighroller, man. He always talking facts every single video. I'm gonna really start reacting to his shit more, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that. But look, bro, I'm gonna keep this shit short, bro. Like, imagine, put yourself in Luka's shoes right now. Think about the whole season. Your team was injured half the season. Kyrie missed 22 games. D Live missed some games. Kleba, all of them niggas missed some games. You doing everything you can to keep your team, to keep winning. You averaging 35 a game. And imagine you doing all of that, snagging rebounds, nine rebounds a game, 9 assists a game, almost 10 assists. And nobody is talking about you. Nobody is even considering you for the MVP. And you got these other niggas that you playing better than. You doing better. You know you better than them. And they getting talked about in the MVP conversation. They above you. How would you feel? That shit is fucking crazy. Come on, bro. Luka MVP case, bro. That's who I'm picking. That's my pick. Luka MVP, man. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, turn on post notifications. I love y'all. See y'all in the next video. I know this was a long one, so thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, you can achieve anything if you work hard, believe in yourself, if you trust God. Grow.